Hey, when I started this digital business, I wasn't sure if it would actually work. So I watched closely, especially the people who were already getting results. This is Mitch. 5 years ago, she was a full time physical therapist, overwhelmed and deep in debt. What happened next changed everything.
I've been in the business for almost 5 years now, but let me go back to 2019. My story started when my mom got sick. She went to the hospital, and I was also on my way to see my patient here in Houston, Texas. But then my sister called me and she said, Mom was in the hospital, so I went ahead. I flew that same night, that same evening back to the Philippines so I could take care of her in the hospital.
She wasn't looking to start a business, she was looking for a way to breathe.
When I went to the Philippines, I paid for my mom's hospital bills and everything. I ended up with lots of debts. We had to pay those debts. Coming back here in Houston, Texas, I realized that my job was not enough to actually support not just myself, but also my family and our loved ones in the Philippines.
Most people stop there, overwhelmed, skeptical, scared to try anything new, especially something online.
I came across an ad on my newsfeed, also on Facebook. I've listened to the whole video about this business, and then what I did, I showed it to Joe, my husband, and he said, that's a scam.
But she didn't ignore the fear, she investigated it.
He didn't even want me to proceed with the video, and then I told him I'm gonna watch the whole video and learn more about this business. And he told me the same thing that you said, Barbara. He said, there are so many online stuff going on. A lot of them are scams. I don't want us to end up with more debts because back then we already had over 45,000 US dollars of consumer debts. So we were afraid. But I said, if we don't try, how will we know? I did not jump in right away. Of course, I did my research. What made me actually decide to jump into this business is it's legit. For me, that's the number one thing. When I knew that this business actually pays taxes, when I knew that this actually worked for so many people, there are so many others who are also using the same platform, and people would not show up on social media if this is a scam. For me, it's really the legitimacy of this business that really got me. Plus, the fact that this business works because there are so many proof that I've seen that I jumped into it. Aside from that, what I love so much about this business, being a full-time physical therapist at the time when I started, was the automation. I'm sure you can relate to that. You can just go see your patients, you can drive, you can sleep, and yet the automated system keeps the business running. That's also one of the things that I love about this.
And 6 months later,
thank God for this business. After 6 months of running this business, I transitioned from full-time to part-time physical therapist.
now I want you to hear what happened after that. This is what time freedom really looks like.
Remember, I mentioned earlier that when I went to the Philippines, paid for my mom's hospital bills, we also had other credit card debts before that we accumulated over 45, maybe 48,000 US dollars of consumer debts. We were able to pay it off in a matter of 8 months. But because of this business, I can just choose how many patients I see a day. In fact, I just see 2 or 3, or I can even decide to stay home the whole week. Imagine that time freedom that I have with my kids, with my family. And also, this business has enabled me and the whole family to actually spend 5 months of vacation in the Philippines.
Let me ask you, what would change in your life if time wasn't tied to a paycheck? Mitch just started with a free 20-minute webinar and she saw a possibility.
The way that I learned about this business was I simply watched the online workshop. It was free, and I watched the whole 19-minute webinar. And then from there, listen to the actual people who were doing the business at the time. And then I decided to jump in. Research is very important.
This webinar found Mitch on a hard day. Maybe it's finding you at that moment too. Go watch the free webinar and see if this system could change your story like it did hers.